So let's talk about Zoom. In particular, once you have done a Zoom, what else can you do with Zoom? What other attributes of the program can be used to encourage your students to learn? Well, let's take a look at a couple. The first thing we want to do is we want to talk about how we can take the recordings of our Zoom and save them to a place where they can be accessed by students later. So, for example, if we are to do a Zoom and a student can't join in the live chat, the idea is we can take it, we can save it, and once we have it saved, we can send the links out through something like Google Classroom, and by doing that, the students that couldn't make the live session can now at least understand and be a part of that community of learning by watching that later. So let's talk specifically about how we're going to do that. Let's talk about streaming your class and how we're going to get it into Zoom, from Zoom to the computer, and from the computer stored somewhere so that you can put it in Google Classroom. Now, you can, of course, go to your Zoom account and you can host a meeting with video on, or you can go to a meeting that you have scheduled and start the meeting from there. In this case, we're going to start with video on. And it's going to fire up our Zoom, and here we are. Join with computer audio. Okay, so you're going to run your meeting just as you always run your meeting. Just like this. You're going to allow your participants in using your participants list, using the waiting room and admit class. You have the chat that can be used over here. And of course, you have all of the different screen sharing options that we're used to in Zoom. So we can look at that at a different video, but using all of the same tools, we can record our Zoom. When we're done recording, we're just simply going to end the meeting. Or when the meeting ends, we simply end meeting. Now, one thing about it is I have set the recording to record as soon as it starts, and that's under video settings. So by setting it to record as soon as the Zoom starts, that way you get all of the streaming recorded for students to use later. And if you need to pause it for some reason to deal with a classroom issue, you simply hit pause and then resume recording. Okay, whenever you're ready. With all that in mind, we're done with this test meeting. So let's go ahead and end this meeting. Now, as soon as the meeting ends, you'll notice it starts with this dialog box where it says it's converting the meeting. What it's actually doing is it's taking the Zoom file and it's transferring it into a file that can be used to play a movie on a computer. Now you need to store it somewhere. This becomes very important. You're going to want to put all these in the correct spots, in the right places. In this case, it's under the Zoom file, it's under the date that I want it under, and it has the meeting ID number. So I'm going to go ahead and store it right there. Now, you can store it in any folder that you wish, but that's the best place to go get it, is usually where they have it stored for you. So with that in mind, now I can go get that file because I know right where it's at. So we're going to go here, we're going to go here, and Zoom, and all the way down. And there's my file. Now, just to double check it, I'm going to go ahead and click the file and make sure it's the one I want. And it is the correct meeting. So there we go. We know that's our correct meeting. And so what we want to do is we want to take this file. Now, you'll notice it says Zoom 0. Highly recommend doing the following. Simply copy that file and paste it right in the same folder. You'll notice it says Zoom 0 copy. The reason to copy it is so that the original stays undisturbed in case there's an issue, but also this allows you to rename the Zoom, and we're going to go Zoom hosting test video. So that's my specific name for this. Now, I highly recommend that most of you label it, first of all, by date, then by class, then by topic, so that you have all of the key information you need if you have to go back and find it later. So maybe a better idea would be for me to name this 8, 9, 2020, Mr. Moore Training, and Zoom hosting test. So date, class, and topic. So there we go. Now, having renamed that, it's stored on my computer. Now, that's great that it's on my computer because I can go back and I can watch it later, but I need it for kids, and I need kids to be able to get to that. So what we're going to do is go to the next step and figure out how we're going to move it over to hosting. Okay, so we've used some of the features of Zoom. We've now saved it, we've stored it, and in this case, we're going to store it on YouTube. Now, the nice thing about YouTube is it's able to be gotten from anywhere. And with YouTube, we don't have to worry if a student's device will be able to accept it, because if that student can use YouTube for any other area of their life, they can use it also for learning. The other advantage of YouTube, as part of the Google Suite, each teacher who is part of the Google Suite has YouTube channel access already, and it's just a couple clicks to get it set up. Let's take a look. To do that, we're simply going to go to YouTube. So, signed in as your school login, you're going to go down to YouTube. Now, in this case, this would be all of the stuff that is available on the internet, and you can search it. But because you have a school YouTube account, you also have a channel. And right underneath, if you hit the icon in the corner, your channel. Now, it only takes a couple clicks for you to set up your channel. Now, in this case, we want to upload a video. To upload that, all I have to do is go to the plus with the camera. Just like in Classroom, you do plus. Just like if you want to do something in Google Docs, you hit plus. So it's plus in the camera, and we're going to upload a video. This is why it is super important to know where that file is located. Well, let's see here. It's under the E drive, it's under the Zoom, it's under this file, and it's under this file. And again, there it is. There's that file that we renamed. All we have to do is double click that, and it will begin uploading that file. The other advantage to having that file named as date, class, and subject is that automatically it populates the video with the name of date, class, and subject. But if that's not enough, I also recommend you put a description in it so you know what you're looking at. Okay, this was just a test video to show teachers how to save, host, and share a Zoom recording. Probably ought to put a couple commas in there, maybe even in the right spot. Okay, now you can also choose a thumbnail. That thumbnail can be something custom, or you can let the computer choose for you. Moving on, you can put it in a playlist, but that may be something for a different video. No, it is not made for kids is the answer you want. Even if you are making it for small children, it has to do more with the permissions and the advertising. But since we're educators, we don't need to worry about those advertiser settings, just the fact that it's not for kids. I don't wish to add any sort of end screen or title cards. This is the important part that you need to know. You don't want to set it to private because that means only you can view it. You don't really want to set it to public because that means it's totally searchable by absolutely everybody on the internet. That's not necessarily we want something for which a student's voice may show up or maybe their face might inadvertently show up. And so our best bet is we want to go with it unlisted. Now, unlisted means you're never going to be able to search for it, but it will always be stored on YouTube underneath this link right here. So you can either copy the link now, or you can simply save it. Once you have it saved, it will upload. You'll notice it gives you the different ways that you can share this video, but it doesn't really have Google Classroom in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this link, and let's take a look at how we can really integrate that with something like Google Classroom. And in Google Classroom, we will find our class. And once we're in our class, we can create an announcement, we can create an assignment, we can do all of those things that we're used to. In this case, I'm going to create a material post. Now, a material post means it's not going to be graded. I'm going to say this is the recording of the Zoom for teacher posting 8/9/2020. And I can put my description as always, and I can create any sort of Google Docs slide sheets that I wish to. But for me, I'm just going to put my link in there. And by adding in that link, everybody can get to that video by simply clicking the link. So let's go back and let's review. We went from our Zoom, we recorded our Zoom, and then once we finished recording, it saved that file in our location. We copied that recording so that we could rename it. Once we had it renamed, we went to our channel under your icon, your channel, and we simply hit the create or upload button. We selected the file that we wish to upload. We hit OK, answered a few questions, made sure it was unlisted, and here it is. Now, there is one other thing about being unlisted that is very important to know. If you simply go to your channel, you'll notice there's no uploads listed in my channel. The reason there are no uploads listed in my channel is because I made them unlisted. If I wanted to find my unlisted videos, it's very easy. I simply go to YouTube Studio. With YouTube Studio, I can figure out which of my videos are unlisted. In this case, I have one that I did to practice, another upload for a Zoom recording, and the video we had here. This is one of the reasons I highly suggest that you name them with very clear names so you can tell exactly what it is just by looking at the unlisted videos. Because remember, if I went to search for it, it shouldn't come up unless I'm in this YouTube Creator Studio or unless I have the link. So that is a challenge with unlisted, but it's a great way to get our videos out to students. So by using these tools like Edpuzzle in conjunction with YouTube, or even in conjunction with Zoom, Screencastify, Screencast-O-Matic, we have a great suite of tools that allow us to take most of everything we do in a classroom and, at least in most ways, be able to move it out to students while at the same time encouraging interaction from them and the data management that we need to ensure that students are learning.